share up the live as we welcome Dr. Derek Alleyne. Welcome back.
Hey, thank you. I hope that you're seeing me perfectly and that
Yes,
you can hear me.
I'm hearing you well. I don't know what you've been doing. You just need to center yourself a little bit. If you can find, yes, yes, yes. Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
I went out and I bought a new camera,
Yahoo!
a new microphone to ensure that we don't have those problems.
Well, I tell you, I'm sorry for them now because you got a new camera, you got microphone, and you're ready to go. You're sounding good. You're sounding
Yeah.
good.
So, listen, it's so good to be back home. But I took a break. I needed to do some things that I promised myself to do. I'm writing about cricket and community in Barbados. I'm making an
Yeah.
argument that the challenges facing cricket in Barbados can be traced to the lack of cricket in the communities, in the
Yes.
villages, and so on. So I was doing some research, and I went up to a friend of mine, Dr. Harold Eastman, who is also he's a sociologist, he's a lawyer, but he's also a cricket enthusiast. And I went up there to sit with him and to put into context what I wanted to advance. So we didn't get a lot done because it was football. He lives in Markham, and there was a festival of music. So we went partying and didn't get a lot of work done. But hopefully we'll get back up and we will get it done.
I love it. I
But
love it.
the visit was really worthwhile, and I also took opportunity sometimes to follow the program.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and I the your technical officer that deals with environmental matters that dealt with the mosquito business and so on is a very good friend of mine. I don't know if I could call his name, but he's very very close to me. He's a very hard worker, top class public officer, and he knows his stuff.
Maurice Gaskin.
Right, and I'm very very glad that you were able to get him on. He's a very very conscientious public officer who looks after the interests of the communities in terms of vector control and so on. Break man.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah, but
He is right. Yeah.
I have been watching the environment over the last month, and I submitted to the social media. I published on the social media a paper on Republic or not. And I believe that you may have shared it with your members, and you're free to do
Excellent.
it. They said when I write stuff, send it out. It's not reduce the few people. I want most people to read it, and I am arguing that the Prime Minister of Barbados has abused her office, and well, what I'm saying, not defamatory. I would like her to challenge me and to suggest that she has not, because the office of the Prime Minister is not about the control of the office. It's about creating an environment where all members of Parliament, in conjunction with the Speaker, get a chance to make their contributions to the advancement of the development of Barbados. The Barbados Prime Minister has had the draft constitution for the Barbados Republic either in her office at Bay Street or located somewhere in Sherwood. Wait, that be name, no? Going up, Sherburne?
Sherburne.
One of them drawers. In public office, public service terms, we said it's been in for 13. That means it's put aside, not to be pulled back up. And we've gone on now waiting after the draft was submitted to the president, Dame Sandra Mason, almost 2 years ago. It is still waiting for a discussion in Parliament to be made, a document that directs the behavior management and rules that govern Barbados' public behavior.
Yes.
The constitution is not something to be played with. I mean, Britain over the years have had unwritten constitution, tradition, and so on, govern behavior and so on. But all countries design constitutions that design rights, rules, regulations, behavior, all kind of things. But most of all, to protect the interests of the downtrodden, to be less able to be the marginalized, to protect their rights and their interests. That is the bottom line of a constitution, to give those vulnerable groups a voice, a hearing. And this government of Barbados under Mayor Motley spent thousands of dollars sending commission all across the region. Africa, Canada, Great Britain, Bermuda, Bahamas, Canada, United States, taking voice reports from Barbadians living in diaspora to give content and context to a constitution to move Barbados for what Motley said she was going to repatriate the constitution of Barbados from England to Barbados. She was going to repatriate the 1966 constitution to Barbados from out of the hands of the monarchy in England. That's what Motley said. And she set up two committees. One was to prepare, and then one was to review the recommendations. And it was presented to Dame Sandra in 2024. And this is 2026. 2026. And there's a little small group, I don't want to call anybody's name, that continue to question whether Barbados is operating legally. And I don't get in that. I'm not a constitutional lawyer. You don't know nothing about those things. I'm a labor lawyer, not lawyer, but I understand labor law, industrial relations law, human resource management, those things. Those are my areas. But I'm not a lawyer. But I understand the principles of the laws that govern those particular disciplines. I understand them. But Miss Motley and her gang, and I'm softening up that word, continue to live on the backs of Barbadians and refuse to bring the constitution to the house. They got the majority. It can't get turned back or turned down. Whatever they bring will be passed. Bring it so that Barbadians will get a feel for what rights are bestowed to all of us, what privileges, what responsibilities are transferred from the top to those at the bottom. But I make this claim and I make this argument that Mrs. Motley does not want that constitution to be proclaimed. Because what it does is it reduces her ability to behave as like what Oinafa call her, a despot. Once that constitution is proclaimed, Motley's behavior will become sanctioned stronger because people have a reference point. Right now, we're in between what was a monarchical constitution and what is supposed to be a republican constitution. So we ain't left, no, we ain't right. We in the hands of Motley, who determines what will happen, left or right. She controls what is right and what is wrong. And when you examine Motley's behavior, there's no evidence to contradict my argument that she has behaved in manners that make Winifred's characterization of her as a despot clear.
So so you're saying this is, I never thought of it that way before. I don't know about the others, but you're saying that you believe that it's deliberately being delayed so
yes,
that
Motley is making sure that the constitution does not become proclaimed.
Because it will, you're saying it will, if it's proclaimed, it's going to limit her power, and that's
exactly because the constitution as presented asks for more citizen participation and to remove the power from the center into the bottom. More citizen participation. So Molly brings it takes a lot of the power out of her hands. That is in law. But knowing Molly, she will find some way to subjugate that position. But that is not the issue. Bring it and get it passed. Let me tell you something. The first act of Motley and her government was to go to the House of Assembly in 2026. And in that new legislation, that forbids, and I really forbids inverted commas, that reduces the inclination of people to cross the floor. Now, I was not in Barbados, but I read some excerpts from a presentation done by the former Prime Minister of Barbados. My mentor, and I don't care who got a problem with that. That was my senior prefect at school. From this year, I've had significant respect for him, and if I lived to be 1,000 and he 1,005, I would respect him till the day I die. He was my mentor at school, bright, without question, intellectually strong. And people could go what they believe, but I believe in him. A bright man with integrity without question. And he lamented the behavior of a pack of belly-hurting weaklings in the House of Assembly who sat down and gave away their independence to be able to make a determination on behalf of their constituents and transfer responsibility for decision-making from themselves. From 29 individuals, they reduced their responsibility from 29 individuals affecting decision-making and handed it to me and Motley. So me and Motley can tell them if they can eat breakfast, if they can eat lunch, if they can pass ear. She can tell them that now. 29 of them. It is one of the most weak behaviors of human beings I have ever witnessed. I really can't believe it happened. You are telling me that I am in a party. I ran for the Democratic Party twice, 1994 and 1999. And when I ran as a member of the party, but as my individual right to represent constituency of St. Michael West Central. I was not elected, but if I elected, I felt I had a right and a responsibility to represent my constituency to the best of my ability without diverting from the policies of my political party. And I sit down and I remember the dilemma that we had with the West Hall and Keith Simmons and those people when they voted against Sandyford. And I try not to get involved in it because Sir Wes remains one of my biggest friends, dear to my heart. And I don't want to make any comments that would compromise any decision he made or elevate the decision made by others. But I always believe that when you are running, you must represent your constituents, and you must also be cognizant of your responsibility to the political party that you run on their ballot. But to go into Parliament and give a rubber stamp to a decision that reduces you to the control of the whip, to reduce you from your independence to vote on the behalf of the interests of your constituencies, or your constituents, I'm sorry, is a sad day. It is a sad day in the political history of Barbados. And the Constitution of Barbados remains inert. It is like one of those gases that got no strength. My chemistry fails me know what I will call which one, but it got no inert. Truth is, yeah, my old chemistry forgive. It escapes me now. But the Constitution of Barbados now, we ain't got none. And Molly acknowledges that. And these whips that we have in Parliament now put all of the power for decision making into the hands of Motley. Now that is the first thing. The next thing Motley and that wimpish group she has did is to elevate a member of the Barbados Labour Party as an independent speaker. How a man can represent a political party in the House for 7 or 8 years, and then 29 of them get in there and decide that them elected him as independent? There gonna be some level of prostituted behavior that flows from that. Their Alleyne can never be independent in the House. I'm a them. I am a them. Me and Molly can never be independent in the House. Molly is a B. Then a story that we gonna recite on that. And they elect a man who for 7.5 years made his position very clear. He treated Rafton with disrespect to hold a BSP position. Every time he got up, there was some position that he took that showed his bias. And they elected him as an independent speaker. When prostitutes were going down through Nelson Street, a whole crowd of them should have gone. Are you serious about that?
Oh Lord, Dr. Alleyne, you're back.
No, man, you look. I ain't calling none of them prostitutes.
No,
but I said they should have gone and learn what about. If they'd have gone, they couldn't behave so. You know what I'm saying? They couldn't behave the way they behave, and then to suggest to us that they're independent and that they're doing the right thing for Barbados. They should have gone down to all the little nooks and crannies in the red light districts and understand what prostitution is about. So we got 2 acts. The first 2 acts this government did after winning the last election is to create history with prostituting the Constitution. The tenets of the Constitution ask for more participation at the grassroots level. Those 2 acts put the participation and control at the top. to get back at the top between Morley and the Speaker of the House now. The Speaker is supposed to be independent. You can imagine that Alleyne sitting down in the House of Assembly and telling people that he's independent. They take a special breed of human being to sit down in the House of Assembly after representing the Barbados Labour Party all of his political life, to tell Barbadians and to try to convince them that he is independent, he or she is independent. It takes a special human being, and it takes a special kind of government to ask Barbadians to accept that. No, a lot of people don't want to deal with these issues because they're frightened. I don't know who they're frightened of. Because Molly can't frighten me. Molly can't frighten me. Molly can't. I mean, Molly will. Molly assumes office and power, and she uses the office of power to control and beat people. But she can't control me. I like whenever she can't control me. You know, I mean, I'm serious now. Again, back serious now. So let me go back to the Constitution. The Prime Minister of Barbados last week goes to some work site where some migrant workers are supposed to be living in deplorable conditions. I was overseas and when I saw that, I all I could do laugh. I laughed till my belly hurt me. And then you got a trade union giant secretary. So she got she eyes for the company. And a whole set of fandango. Listen, it is confusion and ignorance. Look, Alleyne worked at the Labor Department as a labor inspector, labor officer. I work there. And I'm not going to call people's names, but I can give you the scenario. I was at work and I received a call that some people were brought in by a plantation in St. John to cut canes. I was working at Verona House. And I received this call explaining to me the circumstances under which these people were working. I took up my phone and I called the chief labor officer, Mitch Cottington. He's passed on, but I called the chief labor officer. And he told me, Derek, get your backside up to St. John and investigate that situation. I gone up to St. John and I investigated the environment in St. John. I ain't want to call the plantation name, but it's in St. John. And the guy who was the manager of the plantation was Guyanese.
Right.
And he was bringing in Guyanese to work on the plantations, using his office to help some Guyanese people to come. I have no problem. I have no problem. But when I got there, the conditions under which they were living made me my stomach sick. I call him and I tell him, gentlemen, we got to sort these out. We have to sort these out. A lady was the acting chief immigration officer. I don't want to call her name either. You know, she passed on. But she was connected. I knew her. But she was the acting chief immigration officer. And I am not the chief. I am not the deputy chief labor officer. I am an inspector. I took out the phone, I called the chief immigration officer and I asked her for a meeting. And she assigned one of her immigration officers to go with me to St. John to investigate the environment up there.
Yes.
We cleaned it up. Made sure that the back house which the people were living in was renovated to the point where they had in bathrooms and showers and all of that. I won't call the plantation name. but I'm talking about the 1980s or 90s. But there
Mm-hmm.
was no minister involved. The officers in the public service,
Mm,
recognizing that there was an issue, dealt with it. Now you got these, I nearly called it the wrong word. Who turns up and them demanding that they shut down this for public show?
sure, yes.
It's a gallery. That's all it is. It's a gallery. Foolishness. The first point is this. Whenever a person applied for a work permit in my time, the work permit was you had to advertise it. And when it came to my office, the labor department, we will go to all records at Verona House and see if people had been registered in that area for employment. And if people were registered in that area for employment, that information will be sent to the immigration officer, who would then say, you can't get the work permit because there are X amount of people able to perform in that function. If there was nobody registered for that area, time would be given for a notice to be made that this application has been made. And this application is made, therefore other people have a chance to apply.
Yes.
And we all responsibility at Verona House to look at the applications and to see if the people met the criteria. And we will send a report to immigration. I went to Florida, invited by the Fruit and Vegetable Association, because the government of Barbados had complaints about the conditions of Barbadian cane cutters and fruit harvesters in Florida. I, Derek McDonald, went down to Florida to investigate, and I wrote a report, and I must say it led to the cancellation of that contract.
Mm-hmm.
I say so for fair contradiction. I wrote a report. But this government, you know who, I say this here now, you know who was the liaison officer in Florida? A fellow named Jeffrey Craig that went to school me at Foundation. He's son of Lena Craig.
Mm.
And we had a very good time. I told him there's no way I ain't going to recommend Barbadian workers to come back down here.
Right.
First thing, the wages down there were not significantly superior to what they were getting in Barbados cutting canes. And we were having shortages of cane cutters in Barbados and had to bring cutters from St. Lucia and St. Vincent, Dominique, and so on. And we were leaving and go and working in some obnoxious conditions in Florida. And I said wrote my report and said, no, we have to examine this here. And my recommendation is that this here stops.
Yes.
Stop it. So if I'm protecting conditions over there, you want to tell me they ain't got no labor officers in Barbados, no immigration officers? It got come for Prime Minister getting a grandstanding. But the Prime Minister don't give orders. She can't give no orders up there to shut down nothing.
But let me ask you something, Dr. Alleyne, because I, that's why it's good to have these kinds of conversations. So you're saying that in the past, what was done is the public officers would be on the ground there.
The chief labor officer and the chief immigration officer, they work together to ensure that migrant workers, any workers in Barbados, are treated to the best conditions of the sale of their labor. What Prime Minister what Minister Labor what?
The Prime Minister said that from what I heard from Ms. McLean last night is that she wants to get a list as soon as possible of all the people who are supposed to be working there. And so we were last night, I believe was today, on the show, Ms. McLean was saying, but that is something that immigration would have.
That's grandstanding. The nuisance grandstanding. I say that. That's grandstanding. Look, I get so upset with this. And every time I look around, Barbadians allow Motley to grandstand on things that have rules and regulations. The
Mm.
Shaw Act says, I ain't even got I read the paper today upon it. The Shaw says that the Labor Department is to administer the Safety and Health at Work Act to ensure that the conditions that people work under in Barbados are fair, comfortable, and all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
What Prime Minister what? That got nothing to do with Molly. Molly going there grandstanding. Ask who issued the contracts to bring in the workers? How they get the permits?
Mm-hmm.
How many come in? Who stamped them? What were the agreements when they came in? What will be the pay? Where do we live? When those migrant programs are being administered, there must be an inspection of where they're going to live.
Yes.
You gotta go and inspect and make sure that the conditions are adequate, safe, and healthy. All this grandstanding and she carrying on and Barbara eating it like if they're idiots. That is just show. She doesn't care. It's
Mm-hmm.
just a show.
So tell me, why do you think? I think I know why, but why do you think she is using this situation as a show? Why do
Yes,
you why you think she's doing that?
because listen, my argument is this: Company A makes an application to bring in labor. Look, we got Chinese people here living in houses that look like prisons.
Right, that's true.
I'm telling you, I don't know. I mean, I go up by the stadium, National Stadium, where this building stadium there. I don't know how people can live in them units. They let them in Glengarry.
Yeah.
And there's no Hollywood because the Chinese are not gonna complain. They're accustomed to that. The China State Corporation hires people and dispatches them all over the globe to do labor to build the Chinese expansion. Fine, fine. But issue of work permits for mass migration or migration projects must be accompanied by investigations of the conditions under where they're going to sell the labor, the
Mm.
wages, transportation. I saw an article by Dr. Stephen, um, Jeremy Stevens today.
Stevens, yeah.
Bless my heart. A young man that I respected who raised the issues. A girl named Michelle Russell
Yes.
asking for sanctions. The editorial in the Daily, the Bar Association asking for stricter control of work permits. And this government in office and ask these things happening, and now the minister comes saying that there are gonna be more inspections by the Labor Department. You can't inspection when you got 16 members to police the whole of Barbados. You
Mm.
got a labor inspection, health and safety inspectors, 16, I think, don't even think it's 16. That is including seniors to inspect the whole of Barbados in an environment like this. And he talking about more coming. What you do to himself, idiot?
Mm. Yeah.
I tired of this crowd
Right.
bad. Look,
I was
look, you
reading
see
here.
this government,
Go
these
ahead.
ministers, look at me, the bad,
Yeah.
the bad. And I saw a paper that the minister said more inspections to come. Everything with it is to come.
Is to come. Somebody's saying here that this is just like when Miss Murray in a hurry, that is the prime minister, ran down to the hospital as if she could do something about wagons on the waiting room floors. A phone call would have done it. The same thing, nothing. But and we're back to square one. So many issues at the hospital. So it's again, it's performative. Nothing real about it.
Look, when I work in labor department, and that's why this thing grieves me. Every month, I had to send in a report to the chief labor officer about the number of visits I made to shops, offices. I visited X amount of shops. The conditions were A and B, C. They had problems with the toilets. The wages were not being kept. The records were not being kept. All I had a report every month. Now, I say this government alone is at fault. Those things may have deteriorated over time.
Yes.
I'm not saying that this is the problem that starts under the Motley government. But I'm saying is that given the Motley's administrative posture, it suits them. Because then it gives her the opportunity to come out and pretend that she's a martyr. She coming to save the day. She coming out like Robin Hood. When the truth is she's Hood Robin. You understand? And I get tired, and I don't know Barbara's can't see through her up to now. I looked today. The chief labor officer has just moved up to acting as a permanent secretary. I asked the government, what has happened in the labor department since the young lady, and she's a bright, industrious, hardworking young woman. I have no quarrel with her. I asked them what's happening in the labor department. 3 officers went home. I asked them what they done. Replace them. I asked them what they done. Embellish the factory inspectorate, the health and safety unit. That's like me coming on your program and me saying the same thing from the time I come on. That the problem in labor is insufficient resources. And yes, the bigger problem is the minister. A nuisance. And I make what's called that? I make no apology for saying that. He just talk and talk and talk. I know he everything coming. And he ain't getting the children. He coming all the time and he ain't getting the children. Sorry about that. I can't help it. I can't help it. I can't help that. I can't help that.
The fine blanks.
No, look. I mean, I get very emotional about labor. I get very. I work in the labor department.
Yes.
I work in the inspectorate. I work in the job promotion. I work in overseas programs. I work in training young people for job attachments. I went to the University of Warwick and did a fellowship from the British Council on creating employment opportunities and counseling. All the things I did. I'm a labor person.
Yes.
And then I left and went to the NUPW. After being a shop steward, I went there and became an industrial relations officer, education training officer. Then I became assistant general secretary and then deputy general secretary. So labor is my thing. I teach at the University Industrial Relations. It's my thing. And I take objection and anger with the way this minister has been treating labor and people believing that the minister really understands what he's doing. He's a nuisance.
Yeah. But I got a message here from someone. It says, I'm disgusted by what was being done to these foreign workers. I only wish that Sellout More was so passionate about the plight of the Barbadian worker. No doubt this was a well-planned PR moment to regain some relevance. Were these workers union members? Was a union the body to break and crack down on this type of exploitation? What government agency dropped the ball on this? So this person is saying, what about all the other issues in labor? There are so many cases, Dr. Alleyne, that you and we discussed about that have not been done. Go right ahead.
Marcia, I don't discuss that lady. Trust me, I just ignore her. She's been a one fortunate lady that has a gentleman who should have retired about 10 years ago still directing her. So I don't talk to her. I don't discuss her or anything. I
Who
just
is it
leave.
you're talking about? You're talking about sell out more?
So I don't discuss them because
Okay.
if you still need, I mean, I still make contributions to NUPW and C2SAB. I still make, but I am not employed or hired or nothing. So I give advice, I make some suggestions and so on. So I don't really take her on. I just ignore her. But let me make this general point that the recent issue down at the sugarcane place right name
Um,
in St. James, Portville,
Port Vale.
right, where trade unionists Franklin raised issues that remain unresolved.
Right.
Is a statement about her credibility and her interest in resolving issues relating to workers. I say no more about that. So when she comes and she speaks on these issues and she's so confused, and I remember the Kentucky Fried Chicken issue, she's
Yeah.
so confused and she's so upset. I just ignore her. I see right through her. I do not have any time for that lady. Absolutely no time for her. Workers in Barbados are being so short by the unions in Barbados. The problem with Caswell Franklin's union is that he doesn't have the numbers. So if he raises an issue and the government stall or confuse it, he can't strike. He ain't got no striking power. Those with the striking power are not dealing with the issues. The ones that got the ability to shut down an office. Franklin does not have the numbers in any of his units to close anything. So he can holler out and shout out, and the government understands that. So they listen to him, they hear him, and the streets. But the ones that got the numbers that can call action against the wickedness being perpetrated on workers in Barbados are not doing it. And I don't want to say that they are locked up in the bosoms of the government ministers or the government or the premier. I'm not going to say that, but people can view and determine whether that is true or not. So I understand the challenges with Franklin. He's going to voice out his opinions. He doesn't have the resources to make meaningful change. And because of his personality, none of the other unions can hook up with him because he can steal the spotlight because he's more aggressive than them. So none of the general secretaries of the unions can sit down with Franklin because Franklin is going to dominate the discussion and it's going to look like he's doing it. So they leave him out there by himself and let him be the noisemaker. While they concern themselves with holding office and allowing this government to get away with maladministration and the depreciation and degradation of workers. This thing with these migrant workers is a pittance of what is happening in Barbados. I wrote a paper, I think you all sent it out a couple of months ago, on the minister's statement about historical achievements at ILO.
Yes.
When I question historical for what, I maintain that argument. It is just show for them. It is not changing the plight of workers in Barbados. It's not elevating workers to be part of a social partnership of equality. The government is the chief main employer in Barbados, and you treat their workers like dogs, like cats, like secondary people. The Prime Minister determined that she's going to give them $100 every month. She's going to put $300 in a pay package. There's no collective bargaining discussions about wage bargaining, about conditions of work, about uniforms, about health and safety issues, transportation costs, energy costs. Those discussions don't happen. The Prime Minister gets on platform and says, I'm going to give you all $100 a month. And that is the negotiation strategy. Last year, she gave it $300. That is what it's about.
Jesus.
And the Minister of Labor, boy, Yates, can't say anything. He got, but I always remember a big Christian man was asked to lead the debate on same-sex marriages and how I did done with he from Dane.
Yes, I remember.
I did done with him from Dane.
He couldn't even stand up on on his own beliefs. His own biblical beliefs.
I wrote him off from Dane. I said, there is a boy. He is a boy. B-O-Y-Y-Y-Y.
That boy is there is a boy. You know, like when you read it, I am a boy.
Yeah, I don't even then.
What's his name again? His name is Roy, not Roy. What is his name?
People know my position on issues. Nobody can get gammon and tell me to make a presentation on not drinking rum. No, I would be a prostitute. You understand? So that Alleyne talking. You can't ask me to do that. You can get a man with a big pastor and a big lady in the church to come and speak on same-sex marriages. Give me a break, man.
Derek and Kelly, you're making up for the 3 weeks. Mr. Alleyne says there is nobody could tell him to get up in Parliament and speak against drinking rum because he know he drink rum. So why would he? And it's the same thing, you know. The point you're making is about conviction.
Yes.
What are you convicted about?
Look, we all know that in politics sometimes you got the Tory party line.
Yeah.
But there are some things that you just cannot do. There's some things that nobody can get you to do, Marcia.
No, absolutely.
Nobody can ask you to speak anti-Christian behavior.
No.
For no reason. For no reason, they can't get you to do it. And therefore, when these fellas breach those protocols, those behavioral patterns, those value systems, I have no respect for them.
Yeah.
And I know, and I said I'm 73 years old now, and I'm comfortable in my life. I'm a happy man. I am enjoying the benefits of old age. And I'm fighting for nobody. My job here is to enjoy the rest of my life and to make cases for the people that I have always supported, the working class people of Barbados. I respect people at all levels, but my aim all my life was the people at the bottom. My job is to elevate them. And as long as I live, I can fight their cause.
Yes. But
I'm going to fight
I love that. And somebody here, she sent this to me. This person who sent this to me quite a number of times, the same message, and they're sending it tonight again. It says, good night. The public officers are overwhelmed. She's saying here, Mr. Dr. Alleyne, too much work to be done in too little time. And the workers are few. Make it make sense. I'm hearing that from teachers. I had a whole segment to do. I'm going to read something a little later from teachers. But this is exactly what you are speaking of. And this is what Caswell used to talk about. I'm going to leave you to comment on that because a lot of them are saying that they really are overwhelmed.
When I was at Labor Department, I think we had about 9. I will go sit down and write the names though, but there was there was the chief, the deputy chief, assistant chief, seniors, and about 7 labor officers. So we had this office about, in terms of the clerks and so on, probably about 25 at Labor Department. I think that has grown about 10 or 15 more. When the environment has become more complicated and more challenging.
Right.
And therefore the reciprocal response to staffing has not followed the demands made on the office.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore the people in the labor department are under pressure. I don't, I speak under correction. I think the chief now is still acting. Um, the former chief is now acting PS. I don't think she she, because her post is not empty, they can't appoint nobody, and there seems to be no haste of doing it. The
Mm-hmm.
employment tribunals, which is supposed to deal with the complaints from the labor department relating to terms and conditions and so on, understaffed. Help the health and safety officers understaffed.
Mm.
Verona House, where you do placements overseas, understaffed. It's but the government still got about nearly 60 somebody consultants. They still got 60 somebody consultants, people working in every ministry, working for $7,000 and $8,000 and $9,000 a month, doing absolutely nothing. Let come on say no. Cause they come and say no, they got give me the number. So I could call 1,000 or 1,500, 500. They will not publish how many consultants have been assigned in the ministries. I can tell you though that I had 2 consultants trying to get urban and rural development to turn into urban and rural development commission for 4 years. Enormous salaries. The National Sports Council and the gymnasium and them, same thing. They get jobs to their friends and their families when the departments that need proper staffing can't get staff. And the unions dumb, silent,
Wow.
and avoiding dealing with the issues. That's why the density of trade union continue to decline. People running away from the unions every day, done with them, quarreling, fighting out. I the union man till I die. But you gotta be honest. We gotta
Yeah.
get up and smell the coffee, drink it, and use it to elevate workers' interests and to lift them up from the conditions under which they now must operate. We are not honest enough with each other. Workers in Barbados are under pressure.
Yeah, yeah. You know, do you know something? This is one of the things that I was called about. I would say it's a week ago or a week and a half ago. Public servants are saying that they are concerned that some of the senior, well, this is a senior officer actually. I'm trying to couch my words properly because I don't want to give away my sources, but it's senior officers that are saying that they are receiving work-related calls or messages and urgent requests outside of normal working hours because it is being said that the leader of this country says, well, this has to be done. So, for example, the common entrance, a lot of those senior officers, sir, they are saying that they are getting a lot of requests outside of normal working hours. And they actually called me what they were saying, when civil servants, I'm reading it here, fall dead on the job. There's a cry for help. We cannot ignore, right? They're saying that they're crying out for help. What is going to happen? Are they supposed to fall dead they're saying that they're being called outside of normal working hours because here it is, you know what, the PM said this. The PM wants this done now. This has to be done by this particular time, you know, and
look, Marcia, look. Let me say this, and I want whoever hearing this to respond to it. I was director urban in 2018 when the government changed. 2018 I was director urban when the government changed, and that a little freak stormboat Barbados in 2018. And the prime minister took a team into her constituency, not no place else, into her constituency. And I was told that they got some files. I got to get these files ready for the prime minister. Whenever. I tell her, it don't work so. And I ain't talking. My technical officers will tell you, I say, listen, y'all know what your jobs are. Y'all go into the areas that have been affected by the hurricane and you all bring in your reports. When they call me and tell me, go this place, I say, I'm not going. I am not going out there for the show. My technical officers know their jobs. They know the areas that have been damaged, bring in the reports. So when the chairman called me and tell me rubbish, I tell you, you're talking to me. You are going to get reports from me in 3 days.
Right.
You know, and I think I'm running about behind the show, the papi show. My technical officer are going to hand me their reports with costings and priorities. Then I said, so let them contradict that. I directed Urban while he was Prime Minister, and she ran up all through gazettes and long gap with a banner of rubbish. I did not go. Refused to go.
Yeah. But I don't know
because you have staff members that know their jobs. And the time you start stopping them from knowing what they're supposed to do to follow a political directorate, you are asking for trouble.
Yeah.
And once a lot of these departments did that, follow the dictates, not of the permanent secretary, not of the head of the departments, but the interest of the prime minister, this whole system broke down.
Yes, correct.
So the prime minister come and say she want 2 cows killed, and you at a pig farm, you gotta go and find the 2 cows. That's the problem. The prime minister calls and says what she wants done, and all of them drop what they know they're supposed to do and jump behind a woman whose only interest is self.
Yes, it is clear.
They can come and contradict me till they know that what you just said happened and it is true.
The truth. It is the truth. And listen, here's another vacation leave is another one, and I'm so glad that you're on, because I told them that I would send this to you. You know. However, I think I did send it, but I know you were on vacation. But it said that they're saying that the source is claiming that officers are accumulating very large amounts of vacation leave because they're unable to take time off. You see? And what is the government's policy then on accumulated leave?
No, you got there's 100 and some days that you can accumulate. So, but that's not the issue. Vacation is not given for you to have a party, you know. It is that you're supposed to rest and recuperate.
Right.
But the same way you service equipment every 3 months, 6 months, or 9 months, vacation is that kind of process where individual worker is used to recuperate, to recharge, to step out the environment, and to come back ready to assume responsibilities, new responsibilities and challenges. You know what I'm saying? So vacation is not only about going on holidays and trips. It is a period provided for recuperation and rejuvenation. And people need to get their vacation and to take their vacation and to go out and rest and to come back refreshed and ready to go. But let me make this other point. We have in departments in government appointed consultants who now override heads of departments. So whether
what you just said a while ago.
We have appointed consultants who report to the minister. Not to the permanent secretary or to the head of the department, to the minister. And that is where a lot of the issues are coming. And unless the public service, and again the public service has been compromised, I don't care what they say, because the appointments are not done like the way they used to be done. When I went to the public service, I didn't know the minister. I didn't know nobody. I said, hey, man, service can put no my name, and I get a call from a little office, a little senior clerk call me and tell me go down this place. When I went to the labor department, I went to do interviews at the labor department. And I ain't calling the minister. I ain't calling no minister and give me a letter to get to work. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And in every department, youth affairs, labor department, all of them ain't got consultants. All of them got consultants. And if I tell you like, publish them. To publish the consultants, how much they getting paid, what they're doing, and who they're reporting to. Prove
Right.
me a liar. I challenge them. Prove me a liar. And they will shut up.
Yeah. But the question is though, and we've been asking that since Caswell was on, because he was the first one who started to talk about the public servants in Barbados and how they're treated and by the government. The question is, why are Barbadians taking it? How come they are not, people are hiding and messaging me, etc. What is really happening? I mean, they are
Fear.
concerned about
Fear.
their mental health. They tell me
Fear.
worried about their
Marcia,
mental health. Yeah.
fear. Fear, Marcia. Fear. Fear. Marcia, fear. F-E-A-R. Not F-A-I-R. F-E-A-R. Barbadians are living under an environment of total fear. Decisions are made to affect people's lives because of their particular stances. Objection to the Prime Minister is almost treason.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that got they're ready to bite off people's throats and eat up the swallow pipes. You will not know who they are. They smile up in your face.
Right.
And then you run back to her and her acolytes and tell them that Marcia said this. I don't care about me. I retired. I dead now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then they run back to her, and then you next thing you family under pressure. Your job under threat. The people in Barbados can pretend to get by in Barbados is to sing in Motley Square.
Right.
I say that. When I left for urban development, was asked, give the Prime Minister a call. If I tell you what he telling the tell sheet, I can't repeat it on this program.
No. Well, let me just say that's a comedy moment there. But let me tell you, guys, I told you, I don't know why I had said that, I am going to do part 2 tonight of that Guyana issue with the black belly sheep.
Oh Lord.
But wait 1 second. 1 second. I want you to comment on that, right? Because I did promise people that we are going to go back on that. So I'll let you give your final comments in winding up this part. And then I would love to just let you loose on this Guyana issue. I don't know if how much you're because you were traveling. I don't know what you know, but I will bring you up to speed and then I will let you loose. So